Hi BookTube, this is Kelly. Thank you so much for watching Books I'm Not Reading, and I am here today to do my Aussie April review of The Riders by Tim Winton. If you're not familiar with Aussie April, it's an annual event, obviously, and it is hosted by Doris from Aldi Books and Jacqueline at 6 Minutes for Me. So I will link to both of their channels down below. The other thing I'm going to link to down below is a video of Natalie from My Reading Days. She's an Australian booktuber, and she just did a video where she talked about this book. And so I'll link to that below so you can check out her thoughts on The Riders. So Tim Winton, he has been a finalist for the Booker Prize twice for this book and another book called Dirt Music, which I haven't read. I have read his novel Cloud Street, which I would just blanketly give a recommendation for. It's a great kind of sprawling family saga, and it all takes place in Australia, unlike this book, which doesn't really take place in Australia at all. So I kind of felt like I sort of missed an opportunity there, but I have wanted to read this for a really long time, so this seems like a good moment for it. And this was published in, I believe, 1995. It's his 13th or 14th book, and he has written a lot since then. So I'm actually surprised that I don't hear more people. This is 1994. I'm actually surprised I don't hear more people on BookTube talking about Tim Winton, but nonetheless, here we are. Here we go. So I am going to give spoilers away in this review because the things that I struggled with are spoilers, and so if you want to read this book, which the writing is just, again, really, really incredible. But like I said, there were some things I struggled with in terms of the plot. And so if you do want to read this, you probably should stop. This is not a spoiler-free review. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to just tell you is just like the outline of the story, which is totally on the back of the book, and that's not giving anything away at all. But it's about a family. Scully is the dad. He's this really good-natured, open-hearted guy. He just seems like such a good sport, like just willing to go along with whatever everybody wants to do. That's cool. His daughter is Billy. I want to say she's like 8, maybe 9. She's quite young. She's very precocious, and she seems to have this special relationship with her dad. And the wife is Jennifer. And Jennifer was a civil servant in Australia, but she wants to be a painter, and then at one point she wants to be a writer, and so there's a lot kind of going on there. Anyway, on a whim, they're traveling. They've spent like a couple years traveling around Europe. They spent a lot of time in Greece. They went to, they stayed in Paris. Then they go to London, and kind of on a whim, right before they're going to leave London and go back to Australia, they go to Ireland. And they come across this really dilapidated cottage, I don't know what to call it, in Ireland, and Jennifer just falls in love with it and says, let's sell our house in Australia and let's move here. So he, again, says, okay, you guys go back, sell everything, pack everything up, and I will fix up this cottage. So the first part of the book is like just him doing just a lot, like just to make the place livable. I mean, it is in really sad shape. So then he's expecting them to arrive at the airport with all their stuff, and he's so excited to take them and show them all the work he's done on the cottage. And Billy gets off the plane, and there's no Jennifer. So Billy is also seems to be in shock because she's not speaking. She's clutching her little backpack and that sort of thing, but she's not speaking, and that's especially surprising because, again, it seemed before like her and her dad had this really kind of special connection. I almost felt like maybe Jennifer was jealous of their relationship, and so I think one of the first things that I was troubled by was that Scully doesn't wait for Billy to kind of recover a little bit, or he doesn't, ask for a missing persons report. He doesn't call the police or anything like that. He just finds where he thinks, gets on gets a plane to, a flight to where he thinks Jennifer might be, and literally drags Billy along with him on this just fast and furious pace across Europe. And it's interesting to see the way that Scully is so desperate to find Jennifer. At the same time, you do know that he really loves his daughter, and his daughter really loves him. It's hard to know what the daughter thinks of the mom. The chapters are told primarily from Scully's perspective, but there are a few that are told from either Billy's perspective or a few other minor characters. And that really threw me off, like just these chapters where I'm like, who the heck is this person? Because we hadn't been introduced to them sometimes when we're reading about them. I think Billy knows more, though, than she's letting on. And so I think she could have spared them both a lot of heartache and pain if she had been able to tell him what the heck happened. What clues did Scully miss in knowing that she was never going to show up in Ireland? And I understand, like, Scully is, he must just be so terrified about what has happened to his wife. I can think of, especially with the, when you're reading a book called The Riders, like, you think that maybe she's been kidnapped, or is she hurt somewhere, or all manner of things. Like, where is she? And so he's just so driven by its grief and its despair and its rage, and I think he feels like, hey, I did everything you wanted me to do. Like, you should have told me where you are. Or Billy, like, because she refuses to fess up. Again, she is just, he just puts her in, I think, some really precarious situations. And, I don't know that special relationship, I suppose. I don't know if it would exist by the time they made it all the way back to Ireland. My biggest problem with this book is the end. I really needed something, just like a chapter from Jennifer's perspective, which is not in the book at all. I just needed just one thing, just something to understand why she did what she did. And maybe it's there and I just missed it. So by all means, let me know if that's the case. Maybe I'm not smart enough. I don't know. I just don't really understand what happened. What happened that she didn't get on the plane to go to Ireland? What happened between, hey, we're on our way, we'll be at the airport in Ireland on this day, and actually getting there. So I just needed a little bit more closure. Whereas this book is very ambiguous. And one of the things Natalie points out, which I think is really good, is, that there's this kind of relationship with Billy and Scully about, who's taking care of who, because at a certain point, Billy kind of takes over and is like, okay, I'm going to be in charge, and because Scully is just breaking down, like the longer it goes on, like just the more broken he is, and he finally just lets go, in some sense, although I can't imagine that you would ever stop asking yourself, like, why? Like, what happened? Why did you leave? So, anyway, it's a great book, and I'd probably give it 3 stars on Goodreads. I do really, really love Winton's prose, and I'd recommend it, although if you've gotten this far in the video, hopefully you've already read it, because I just ruined it all. If you've read this book, I'd love to hear what you think, and or like another Tim Winton book that I should pick up next. So, thank you so much, BookTube. Remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.